Hello all, myself Vidangi and I am a legal intern at Lexis and Company. So guys, my today's topic for the discussion is the case analysis of Common Cause versus Union of India. So let's begin. So in this case, the recognition of human autonomy as an aspect of Article 21 would undoubtedly have a variety of already obvious consequences. So the apex court's judgment in this case is an ode to individual autonomy, as it has allowed citizens to draw living wills and authorizations from lawyers, which would signify a person's decision to discontinue care if they are in a terminally ill or permanent vegetative state. Talking about the background of this case, so this petition was brought by Common Cause, a registered society which sought a declaration that the right to die with dignity formed a part of the right to live with dignity under Article 21. And it further sought directions to the state to adopt appropriate procedures to allow persons who were of deteriorated health or who were terminally ill to execute advanced medical directives or living wills. The court extensively considered Indian and international precedents, including the decision laid down in case Puttaswamy versus Union of India, and held that the right to die with dignity was a fundamental right under Article 21. Also, the court validated that the use of advanced medical directives, noting that through this mechanism, individual autonomy could be safeguarded in order to provide dignity in the death. And the right to privacy was also considered central to bodily autonomy, integrity, and freedom of choice, which would then be protected as fundamental rights. So it was held that continuing treatment against the wishes of a patient is not only a violation of the right of informed consent but also of bodily privacy and bodily integrity that have been recognized as a facet of privacy by this court. Now talking about the facts of this case, so this writ petition sought a declaration that the right to die with dignity fell within the fold of the right to live with dignity under Article 21, and to ensure that the persons of deteriorated health or terminally ill could execute a living will or an advanced medical directives. So while this case was initially placed before a three-judge bench in the light of contradictory precedents in determining the law relating to the right to die in India, it was referred to a constitution bench. And this issue can be traced back to the case of P. Rathinam versus Union of India, in which a division bench of the Supreme Court held that the section 309 of the IPC, which criminalized attempting to commit suicide, was unconstitutional as it was violative of the fundamental rights enshrined under Article 14 and Article 21 of the Constitution. And the court also held that the right to die was encompassed within the right to live. And this was overturned by a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court in the case of Jan Kaur versus State of Punjab, where the court held that the right to live does not include the right to die under Article 21 of the Constitution. So finally, in the case of Aruna Ramachandra versus Union of India, the court allowed for passive euthanasia under exceptional circumstances under the strict guidelines laid by the court. Now there were certain issues that were raised in this case. So the first issue was whether the right to die with dignity was a fundamental right within the fold of the right to live with dignity guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution or not, or whether passive euthanasia on a patient's will to die should be allowed or not, whether there is any difference in active euthanasia and passive euthanasia, and whether a person has a right to refuse medical care, including removing from life saving equipments. So there were certain arguments that were raised in this case. So petitioner argued that the concept of sustenance of individual autonomy was inherent in the right to privacy and also formed a part of the conception of liberty. It was submitted that keeping a patient in a persistent vegetative state through advanced medical methods prolonged pain and suffering and allowed intrusion upon the patient's autonomy and dignity. So the petitioner further claimed that the right to die with dignity was linked to the right to live with dignity, and it also pleaded that the right to refuse unwanted medical treatment was also a common law right, and that a person could not be forced to take medical treatment without their consent. Whereas the respondent, that is the state in this case, it submitted that the state had considered regulating euthanasia, but the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare found it unfavorable. And the respondent argued that the right to live with dignity guaranteed under Article 21 referred to the availability of food, shelter, health, and did not include the right to die with dignity. So, an intervention application filed by the Society for the Right to Die with Dignity was allowed, and the affidavit supported the concept of euthanasia and laid emphasis on peaceful exit from life and freedom of choice not to live in an irrecoverable state. And it also supported the idea of a living will and filed a living will sample. So, what was held in this case? So, in this case, the Supreme Court held that under Article 21 of the Constitution, an individual has a right to die with dignity as a part of his or her right to life and a personal liberty. And therefore, the decision requires the elimination of life support devices for terminally ill or incurable diseases. And the court also allowed the individuals to decide against the help of artificial life support system and acknowledge the need to establish a will to live. So the bench extracted the right to die with dignity from the matrix of privacy, autonomy, dignity within the guarantee provided for in Article 21 as specified by the 9 judges bench of the apex court in the case of Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. And it also upheld the right of a person who is able to consent to issue advance directives of attorney's authorizations to allow the withdrawal of futile treatment or life support equipment if appropriate. And additionally, the bench issued the guidelines to avoid any potential abuse of those directives. And furthermore, in this case, the court set out several recommendations concerning the protocol for the implementation of advance directives and established the requirements for passive euthanasia to take effect. Now, what we can conclude from this entire case is that the passive euthanasia idea is very controversial and poses several complex political, economical, educational, religious and legal questions. So there are generally two classes that are established concerning passive euthanasia. The first is the ethnic community that does not accept the right to die and insists that the life is a divine gift, and the second relates to the constant provision that the willingness of terminally ill patients to give informed consent for killing themselves is frequently challenged. And there have been various movements in the past relating to euthanasia, some for its assistance and some for its removal. But in the favor of euthanasia, rules have been laid down taking into account people's interests. So while this idea is contradictory to the religious values and it has been seen as beneficial to the society, so there is a conflict between law and religion in that respect. Law prevails over faith in cases of unfair practices. So this is basically a decision in a right direction, and many people who are dealing with chronic illnesses are frequently exposed to constant pain and suffering, as well as conditions where there is no remedy but only medicine and care that prolongs their life. So denying them the right to die is extending their misery in a dignified manner, and the court is also correct to recognize the right to die with dignity as a constitutional right, because it will help to elevate the hardships of those who are suffering from such illnesses, and they would be able to die with dignity. So guys, that's all about my discussion on this particular case. I hope you all liked my video. If you guys have any doubt with regard to this video, then you can comment in the comment section. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel Lex Click. We will meet in the next video. Till then, bye.